Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Liz, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to create several farmhouse DIY signs. I recently redid my dining room and I wanted several farmhouse signs that were inexpensive that I could do, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. And so if you're new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe. I post at least 3 new tutorials each week. And if you'd like to see how to do the DIYs, just keep watching. The first project that I'm going to do is this white pitcher. I purchased it at Hobby Lobby on 40% off fall sale. So I believe it was around $8 or $9, but I wanted to add something to it to give it a little something extra. So I found this stencil at Hobby Lobby and I got this for around $4 with my coupon. And I thought I could use all of these different stencils to make some really neat farmhouse signs that were inexpensive. So with the picture, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting out the rooster. I'm going to put that on the front of this just to give it a little something extra and make it look a little more farmhouse, because most of the farmhouse stuff at Hobby Lobby is being clearanced right now, or they're not selling it because they're introducing a lot of their fall stuff. So I just placed the rooster on the front. I didn't really make sure it was perfectly straight. I kind of just eyeballed it and went with it. And I'm going to be stenciling this with a kind of a light blue aqua color. And this stencil was kind of interesting because it had like a mesh to it where you actually put the paint. So you're supposed to be able to reuse it. The way that I put paint on when I'm stenciling is I start at the edge and I gently do light strokes towards the middle. I find that this is more effective than dabbing the paint on, because if I dab the paint on, I always get bleeding underneath. But when I do the stencil going away from the edge, it seems to just go so much more smoothly. It was a little bit harder with this mesh, but I just tried to make it work. After I put on the blue, I decided that it was a little too bright for me, so I actually mixed some gray paint with my aqua paint, and I'm just kind of putting some streaks on there to make it look a little bit more aged, and I ended up liking this look a lot better. And then after I was done putting on the paint, I immediately took the stencil off, and I was also able to wash these stencils out fine. So if you get them at Hobby Lobby, just make sure you immediately wash them and they should be fine. And I really like how this turned out. I think it looks super cute on the top of my hutch, and it just makes it look a little bit more farmhouse. When I was at Hobby Lobby, I spotted a lot of 90% stuff in the spring clearance stuff. So I ended up getting this sign for, it was about 90 cents or $1. And I could have done this with wood, but I thought that was really cheap and I'll just use it to create another sign. So I decided that I wanted the front of this sign to be black, but I'm going to keep the edges that are already painted white the same. So I'm just using some of my black acrylic paint, and I'm just going to simply paint over the front of it. It took me about 2 coats to cover it, but I also am going for more of a distressed look, so it wasn't completely jet black. So I think if I wanted it to be more black, I'd probably add a 3rd layer to it. And I'm also, the brushes I'm using are just those really inexpensive foam brushes that you can buy in a pack. I like using those because when I'm done with them, I can throw them away, and they're pretty cheap, and I don't mind, buying those. So I'm just going to put my 2 layers on, letting them dry between each coat, and then I'm going to come back in with this stencil. So what I decided for this one was that I was going to cut out the eggs and the arrow and the 25 cents and do a configuration for this sign. Now I figured that this sign probably cost me around $2 to $3 to make if you add in the cost of the stencil. So I thought that was pretty good for a little sign. And so I'm just going to put the eggs in the middle, and then underneath that I'm going to add my arrow. And I did have to cut a little bit more off of the egg so that my arrow would fit underneath so I could just do it all together. But I did find that, you know, you wanted to leave a good amount of the blue on so that when you're putting your paint on, you don't write on your sign because you don't have enough of the outside of your stencil. And then from there, I'm just going to use white paint to dab this on. And I'm actually reusing a brush. Sometimes if I just use it for a little bit, I'll cut off the top, and I'm just using the side of this brush so that I don't have to dirty up another one. And I'm just trying to put the paint on. I did have to do a little bit more dabbing here because my method of getting it into the middle wasn't working so well with the lettering, and the paint did bleed a little bit more on the lettering, but I'm doing more of a distressed look on this one, so I didn't mind as much. So I remove the stencils when it's still wet. I find that that's works the best for me, and that's usually what the directions says to do. So from here, I wanted the edges to look a little bit more distressed, so I just decided to take my white paint and I'm just adding a little bit of paint around the edges. I don't even think I put any paint on my brush. I probably just used the excess to add it to the ends. And after I put this paint on, I let it completely dry, but then I decided I wanted a tiny bit more distressing. I'm coming in with a little bit of sandpaper and distressing it. If you guys are new to my channel, please make sure to subscribe. I post at least 3 DIY tutorials a week, and I don't want you to miss out on any of them. And look how cute this is on my hutch. I just love it. So at that 90% off sale, I found these little things for like 30 cents, and I was like, I gotta figure out something to do with these. So I picked up 4 of them, and so I decided that I was going to spray paint them. They come in all different kinds of colors. So I took them outside and I'm gonna spray paint them black. I had to do 2 coats here, so I spray painted a good layer with them facing this way, and then I flipped them upside down so I could get the underneath of the handles and the underneath of the little lip there, and I didn't want any purple to be showing through. So usually when I spray paint, it takes me about 2 coats, and I tend to be good with that. And this black spray paint I'm using right now, I've been using it for several projects. So spray paint really goes a long way, and I'm able to get several projects out of one can. So back to that same stencil I bought, I'm going to use the word farm, and I just simply cut the word out, and I'm going to be sticking them underneath the lip of my container there. And then I'm just pressing them down in place. This project was probably one of my easiest ones and was so inexpensive, but it really turned out so cute on my hutch. So all I did was the same technique of just filling it in with the white paint, and then as soon as I was done stenciling it in with the paint, I just took the stencil off to check it and make sure that it looked okay. Again, there was a little bit of bleeding, but not too bad, and I didn't find the need to clean it up. I maybe added a little bit of black paint on one of the lettering, but it really wasn't a big issue. How cute are these? If you're at Hobby Lobby, make sure you pick them up. I hope you guys enjoyed those DIYs. Please make sure to give me a big thumbs up. It really helps to support my channel, and I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.